An emotional moment backstage. Jungkook and Taehyung in a heartbreaking scene. That night, after a massive BTS concert in a packed stadium filled with thousands of armies, the atmosphere backstage felt different. Normally, the members would still be full of adrenaline, joking around, and celebrating their performance. But this time, there was a heavy silence in the room. Only the sound of deep breaths and soft footsteps echoed. Kim Taehyung sat in the corner, his head lowered. His eyes, usually bright and full of energy, looked dull and exhausted. Jimin, sitting nearby, glanced at him with concern, sensing something was off. Meanwhile, Jungkook stood in front of a large mirror, his hands clenched into fists. "Are you okay, Tae?" J-Hope finally broke the silence with his gentle voice. Taehyung didn't answer immediately. He took a deep breath, then lifted his face, forcing a small smile. "I'm fine," he said softly, but everyone who knew him well could tell it was a lie. Jungkook, who had been quiet all this time, suddenly turned around. His eyes were filled with emotion, and his voice trembled slightly, yet it was firm. "No, you're not okay, Tae." Everyone in the room froze. This was unusual for Jungkook. He was the type to stay silent or try to lighten the mood, but this time, he couldn't hold back anymore. "We can all see it. You're pretending to be strong, but I know you're struggling. I saw how you lowered your head backstage earlier. I saw how you forced a smile, but your eyes can't hide the truth." The room grew even quieter. Taehyung bit his lip, trying to suppress the emotions building inside him. But the more he tried to hold it in, the heavier his heart felt. And then, at that moment, the walls he had built came crashing down. Tears that had been held back for so long finally streamed down his face. His body trembled. Seeing this, Jungkook immediately stepped forward and without hesitation, pulled Taehyung into his arms. "It's okay, Tae. Just cry," Jungkook whispered softly. Taehyung broke down completely, his sobs muffled against Jungkook's shoulder. His hands clutched Jungkook's shirt tightly as if afraid of letting go. I tried so hard to be strong. But sometimes, I feel like I can't do it anymore," he admitted in between sobs. Jungkook gently rubbed his back, offering silent comfort through his touch. "I know, I see it every day. I just want you to remember, you're not alone. We're all here for you." Jimin, watching his best friend break down, wiped his own tears quietly, his lips trembling. Even Suga, who usually remained calm and composed, looked away, his eyes slightly red. And Jin exchanged glances, understanding the weight each of them carried as idols, especially Taehyung, who always tried to appear cheerful in front of the world. J-Hope finally stepped forward and placed a reassuring hand on Taehyung's shoulder. "Tae, you're an important part of this family. Never feel like you have to carry everything on your own." That night, for the first time in a long while, Taehyung felt a weight lift off his shoulders. He realized he didn't have to pretend to be strong all the time because he had people who would stand by him, no matter what. The twist. What was really happening? A few hours after this emotional moment, armies worldwide started noticing something strange. Fans who recorded the concert spotted details that seemed unusual. Normally, Taehyung was full of energy and always smiling on stage, but tonight, his expression seemed different, his usual bright eyes looked distant. Not only that, but during one part of the performance, Jungkook was seen tightly holding Taehyung's hand just before they bowed together at the end. At that moment, Taehyung briefly turned to look at Jungkook, with an expression that was hard to interpret, like someone silently asking for help. Speculation spread quickly. Was Taehyung going through something difficult? Was there a hidden struggle he had been keeping from the public? But for those who had followed BTS's journey for years, one thing was clear, the bond between the members was more than just friendship. They were a family, a place where each of them could lean on one another when the world became too heavy. And that night, in Jungkook's arms, Kim Taehyung finally allowed himself to cry, without the fear of looking weak.